Hey, Dr. John Finn here. Welcome to the Habit Mechanic podcast. Right now, you can get my new best-selling book, Train Your Brain for the AI Revolution, at tougherminds.co.uk. The digital book, audiobook, and physical book are all available at a special price that you won't find anywhere else. Hello, Habit Mechanics. Dr. John Finn here. Hope you're having a fantastic week. Today, I am in the Tougher Minds office. In between meetings, so I thought I would just fit in the weekly podcast. I want to focus on helping other people to be at their best today, and excitingly, I had another Forbes article published this week, which I think is about my seventh or eighth so far, or in the last 6 months or so, which is really good. The focus of the article is why traditional coaching is broken and how to fix it using a new science-based approach. The reality is that the psychological sciences, I would say, are at least 70 years behind the physiological sciences. In, I think, chapter 4 of The Habit Mechanic, I talk about Roger Bannister and how Roger Bannister, when he became the first person to run the sub 4-minute mile, he was not only training to be a medical doctor at Oxford University, he was also a research scholar. And his research was investigating the role of oxygen in distance running. So he was getting people into the Oxford physiology laboratories, he was getting them onto treadmills, and he was measuring their gas exchange, their carbon dioxide output and their oxygen input. And he was using those insights to work out how to optimize his own running approach and his own training. This was in the 1940s, and the technologies that we use to do those kind of measurements had been around since about the 1930s. And if you go into a modern sports science laboratory now, the tech looks pretty similar. It's a bit jazzier, it's a bit fancier, but in principle, it does the same job. And the thing that we need to understand is that we've only been able to look inside a human brain for about 20, 25 years. So Bannister was able to do that research in the 1940s. We've only been able to look inside human brains for about 20, 25 years. So that's why I'm saying that I feel that the physiological sciences, which I've studied in great detail, I've taught physiology at university as well, so I've got a fair idea about those sciences. I think they're about 70 years ahead of where psych is. But excitingly, since we've been able to look inside the human brain and learn more about how it actually works, we're now able to use those insights to influence how we help ourselves and others to be at their best. And of course, those insights are at the heart of the habit mechanic approach. But unfortunately, most of the ways we've been taught to help other people to be at their best are not based on those insights. And some language that I really like is first principle thinking. So that means that we take the fundamental foundational principles about something and we apply those principles to help us get a better understanding, to help us develop, to help us improve the area that we want to improve. So if we look at sports science, for example, about 20 years ago, professional football used sports science or first principle thinking to make it easier to get their athletes fitter. And, that spread through most professional sports. So that if you take professional footballers' physical conditioning and fitness levels, and when I say football, I'm talking about UK football, soccer, but it applies to American football as well. If you look at the fitness and conditioning levels of those players maybe 20 years ago and compare them to now, there are seismic differences, and those differences have emerged because the fitness teams used first principle insights about how to get players physically fitter. If we look at Formula One racing, has Formula One racing used first principle thinking to make Formula One cars go faster?
Yes, they have. They've used first principle thinking about physics to make the cars go faster, and the cars can go faster now than ever before. If we look at the psychology, and let's look to what we were doing maybe 50 years ago. We were using Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We were using outdated and, in my opinion, damaging psychometric tools. Fast forward to today, have we used first principle thinking about why people do what they do to help them to do better? No, we're still using what I call black box theories, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, outdated, broken psychometrics. So although we've been able to look inside the brain and start to make sense of how it actually works, and we've been able to learn from insights from behavioral science how we can make it easier for people to build better habits, most of those insights haven't worked their way into best practice. And that's why I'm saying that traditional coaching is broken, because it's based on helping people to know more things, and maybe you get some skills sometimes, but it's not designed to help people to build better habits. And of course, we know that's where the action is. It's only by building better habits that we can actually make consistent changes to how we think, so we can think more effectively, and how we go about our daily life, so we can do things every day that make it easy for us to be healthy, happy, and at our best. So if we want to help ourselves and others to do better, we must consider the 9 action factors, which we covered in a lot of detail in the last podcast. But just to recap, they are the habit mechanic mindset factor, the brain state optimization factor, the tiny changes factor, the personal motivation factor, the personal knowledge and skills factor, the community knowledge and skills factor, the social influence factor, the reward and penalties factor, and the external triggers factor. Those 9 factors are driving everything that we do. So if we want to help ourselves and others do better, we have to use those factors to make it easier for ourselves and others to build better habits. So that's what the Forbes article is about. You can check that out. You can just Google John Finn and Forbes and you'll find the article. The good news is that we're actually doing an event. We just released an event this week. We're doing an event on February the 22nd, a free webinar, which is called How Coaches and Leaders Can Supercharge Their Clients' Teams' Happiness and Performance using a new science-based 9-step framework. And in that session, we're going to think about why the post-pandemic world can be destructive for our well-being and our performance, why traditional approaches to helping people to be their best don't cut it anymore. We're going to think about which science-based 9 factors we can use to help our clients get rid of their destructive habits, and also how we can use the same factors to help our clients and our teams unlock their potential. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can sign up for the free webinar, and I'm going to put a sign-up link in the show notes. So if you haven't received a link for that via an email from us, you can sign up in the show notes. If you can't find it, the link, just contact us and we'll get it to you. So that's a free webinar. It's on Feb 22nd. It's 12:45 UK time. So that's exciting. What I want to share with you then in this session, so I've been sharing snippets from the audiobook. I want to fast forward to the leadership section of the audiobook, because this is a podcast about helping others to do better. So the Habit Mechanic book is structured into 4 core steps. Step 4 is all about helping others to be at their best. It's all about helping leaders to build cultures that make it really easy for people to be at their best. And we introduced a leadership model in step 4 of the book. And the leadership model has 4 parts. One is, and it's called the Team Power Leadership Model. The 4 parts are the role model, the action communicator, the cultural architect, and the SWAP coach. And SWAP is an acronym that we use that stands for Self-Watch, Aim, Plan. That's our most basic change cycle. So I want to share the SWAP coach chapter with you to get you thinking about how you do or don't help the people that you want to help build better habits. So how do we move past just sharing more knowledge and more skills with actually starting to help people to build better habits? So in this chapter are further explanations about what the swap coach is, and I share some examples of people that I think were really good swap coaches. But also there's what we call a habit metrics tool that will help you to start analysing your swap coach habits so that you can ultimately start to think about building some new ones. So now I'm going to hand over to myself, put myself in an audiobook format, and I'm going to explain more about the swap coach part of our Team Power leadership model.
Chapter 31, The Swap Coach. Help others build new, helpful habits. In this chapter, I'll examine the swap, self-watch, aim, plan, coach element of my Team Power leadership model. I'll explain what great swap coaches do and show you how to analyse your own swap coach capabilities and habits. My first example of a highly effective swap coach is Sir Alex Ferguson. Ferguson is one of soccer's most highly regarded and successful managers. As Manchester United manager, his side dominated domestic and European soccer and won multiple trophies. He also oversaw the development of the so-called Class of '92. They were a group of players who included club legends David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt, Gary and Phil Neville, and Ryan Giggs. In an interview with Sequoia Capital chairman Sir Michael Moritz on the Stanford Graduate School of Business YouTube channel, Ferguson explained how, before every game, he conducted a series of one-to-one meetings with players that had not been selected. He gave them his reasons for making that decision. He said the important part of doing this was to make these players feel like they were contributing to the team's success, even though they were not playing in that particular game. Interestingly, Ferguson said he based his practice on his own experience of being dropped without reason shortly before kick-off in a Scottish Cup final when he played for Glasgow Rangers in the 1960s. At the time, he was the team's top goalscorer. Successful swap coaches are excellent at helping individual members of a team work towards being at their best. They do this by helping individuals develop their personal capabilities. That is, knowledge, skills, and habits. To achieve this, they create positive relationships built on trust so people feel able to share their unhelpful habits. The swap coach then supports them in building new, helpful ones. There are 3 core components of being an excellent swap coach. 1. Focusing on individuals and showing you care, building trust. 2. Having great listening and rapport building skills. 3. Coaching and supporting individuals to improve by helping them build sustainable, new, helpful habits. Campfire discussions, stage 4 of the 5-stage Team Power model, are where swap coaching takes place. First, learn how to coach yourself. To become a great swap coach, you must first learn how to coach yourself. That is, become a habit mechanic. Then you can use your habit mechanic toolkit to help others build new habits. For example, consider this scenario. You and a member of your team, your coachee, have agreed that you are both going to work together to improve their leadership skills and abilities. To help your coachee build sustainable new habits, they will need to use habit mechanic tools and insights like SWAP, the 9 Action Factors framework, and the habit building plan.
Other highly effective swap coaches. Judy Murray is the mother of tennis star Andy Murray, an Olympic champion, Davis Cup winner, and the first British man to win multiple Wimbledon singles titles since Fred Perry in 1936. She is also the mother of Jamie Murray, who in his own right is a highly successful tennis professional. Judy Murray played a pivotal role in both her sons' careers. She coached both of them when they were young children and aspiring juniors. She has continued to be a huge influence in their development. In the early part of Andy Murray's career, he was constantly written off. First it was said he was not strong or fit enough, so he got fitter. Then it was said he was not sufficiently mentally resilient, so he developed his mental game. Andy Murray kept on developing himself until he eventually won his first Grand Slam title. From his comments and other reports, it is safe to assume Judy Murray had a significant input in helping him develop the physical and mental capabilities he needed to become a world champion. My final example is from Will Carling, the former England rugby captain. He was made captain at the early age of 22 and went on to become one of England's most successful players. Carling talks about the power of peer-to-peer coaching, where teammates actively help each other get better. He discusses the importance of being able to have difficult conversations. Getting good at having difficult conversations is an important skill for a swap coach. Reflect. If it is helpful, take a moment to write down examples of people you think are great swap coaches. These could be people you know or people you know of. For example, a famous business leader. The Swap Coach Self-Assessment. Our Swap Coach Self-Assessment tool is designed to help you analyse your current swap coach abilities. This is an intelligent self-watching tool. It helps you understand much more about being a good swap coach. It is highly unlikely you'll be a perfect swap coach. The important thing is that you are thinking about your swap coach habits and identifying your strengths and areas for improvement. If you revisit this process every 4 to 6 weeks, you will gradually improve your swap coach habits. Answer each statement by writing down one of the following options. A. Not a priority. B. Something I already do well. C. Something I need to do better. Statement 1. It would be helpful for me to have a set of questions I can use to help build a rapport with people for both face-to-face and remote interactions. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 2. It would be helpful for me to have a set of questions I can use to help me show people I am listening in both face-to-face and remote interactions. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 3. It would be helpful if I showed vulnerability first. For example, sharing with your coachees, for example, team members or colleagues, that you are still working on improving yourself. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 4. It would be helpful for me to overemphasize that I am listening and understanding what the other person is saying. This might be especially important in remote interactions. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 5. It would be helpful if I learned to improve my listening skills. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 6. It would be helpful if I gave advice less often. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 7. It would be helpful if I asked my coachees, for example, team members or colleagues, to explain why something was stressful or challenging. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 8. It would be helpful if I encouraged my coachees, for example, team members or colleagues, to think about their long-term goals. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 9. It would be helpful if I encouraged my coachees, for example, team members or colleagues, to think about what they need to achieve in the short term to achieve their long-term goals. For example, create a FAM story. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 10. It would be helpful if I had a list of questions, for example, the role model questions, to help my coachees, for example, team members or colleagues, reflect on how they can be at their best more often, so they have the best chance of achieving their short-term and bigger goals. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 11. It would be helpful if I helped my coachees, for example, team members or colleagues, consider their current performance in areas they want to improve on a scale from 1, poor, to 10, perfect. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 12. It would be helpful if I explained neuroplasticity to my coachees, for example, team members or colleagues, so they can understand they can change and grow. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 13. It would be helpful if I asked my coachees, for example, team members or colleagues, to write down a SWOP, self-watch, aim, plan that will help them move one step closer to 10 on the scale I described in Statement 11. Write down A, B, or C. Statement 14. It would be helpful if my coachees wrote a habit building plan to consider all the factors that would help or hinder them in achieving their new habit. Write down A, B, or C. Now that you've reflected on your current strengths and weaknesses as a SWOP coach, write down some reflections about your insights. It might be helpful to give each area you think needs work a priority score. 1, most urgent, 10, least important. If it is helpful, consider which small new helpful habits you can build to help you become an even better SWOP coach and team power leader. Add these to your Me Power wish list. Let's now think about how you can become an even better cultural architect.
So that's the SWOP coach part of the team power leadership model. I hope the habit metrics got you thinking. And the key isn't to change everything at the same time. It's to pick one small area and start to build a new habit in that area. And all 4 leadership areas have those same habit metrics. So they help you to reflect on the good habits you already have in those areas, but also help you to start building new habits. As I said, we're running a webinar on February the 22nd, where we're going to take a deeper dive into some of the ways that as coaches and leaders we can start to make it easier for our people to be at their best. But the work that's really exciting me at the moment in my day-to-day is my work helping people to become certified habit mechanic coaches. We only released this program before Christmas, and already we've got people up and running. We're about at capacity at the moment, and we've got such a diverse range of people who are doing the program, and every single project is really exciting. You know, the point of the program is to help people to transform their clients or their team's lives without having to do a PhD in performance psychology. I've done all the hard work for you because I've taken that deep dive into the academic side and used the scientific insights to create some really simple and practical tools. And that's what you learn as a certified habit mechanic coach. I'm going to give a quick overview of what we're doing in that program. So the certified habit mechanic coach training includes multiple core areas. The first part is that I spend over 10 hours working one-to-one with people to help them to become certified habit mechanic coaches. And, you know, part of that work is it's not just me sharing my own experience of working in resilience leadership, performance psychology for over 20 years. I'm also sharing the experience of how I've helped over 10,000 people to be at their best, but how I've grown and how I'm growing a global brand, because ultimately we're using behavioral science to help us to do that as well. What people also learn when they become certified habit mechanic coaches is how to use our proprietary habit metric assessment tools. And I just shared one with you there in the Swap Coach chapter. This helps you to help your clients and your team quickly identify their destructive habits and their super habits. And this is the first time I'm ever training people how to use these habit metrics. So the people that are training to become certified habit mechanic coaches are essentially a small elite group of coaches that I've personally trained to do this. So it's really exciting to get other people trained up to use these really powerful habit metric tools. What you also learn when you become a certified habit mechanic coach is how to use the 30 plus award-winning habit mechanic tools that you'll see in the habit mechanic book. They help your clients to move past knowing about their destructive habits. And we use those tools to help your clients and your teams destroy their destructive habits and build new super habits. And not just in the short term, but we show them how to build, we show coaches how to help their people, their clients, their teams to build permanent, positive habits that improve happiness, performance, and leadership. Also, when you become a certified habit mechanic coach, you join an exclusive group because not many people have this badge, this recognition that you're actually using cutting edge techniques, cutting edge insights from neuroscience and behavioral science to help your people and your clients thrive. This is going to help you to stand out in the marketplace, whether you're an independent or you work inside an organization, because people are desperate for this type of support. We have to help people to move past knowing what they need to do and help them to actually build the habits. Also, what you get when you become a certified habit mechanic coach is copies of our book for your clients, for your teams. You get premium level access to the Habit Mechanic University app for your clients, so you can instantly get them working on the habit metrics tools and using the Habit Mechanic toolkit. And, you know, quickly your clients and your team can start to build these new habits. And finally, because we're really proud of our certified habit mechanic coaches, we promote them to our database, which means you're going to get exposure to our clients and our connections, and that's going to drive more kudos, more clients, etc. And you know, if you're a private coach, ultimately you're going to earn more money. Although we're about at capacity, we're still taking applications because we will open up some more places, but places are limited. And it's worth saying that the price point at the minute is an entry price point, so the price will be going up in the near future. But if you apply and we agree to work together, then we'll give you the current price that we have. In order to apply, we are saying that you must have read chapters 1 and 2 from the Habit Mechanics, so you've got a really good sense of what this is about. And this is a selective process. We have had to turn some people down because we didn't think this was the right program for them. But, you know, we're happy to have a conversation with everyone and just understand if this is the right product for you or not. So if you're interested, go to our website, contact us from there, and just say that you want to become a certified habit mechanic coach, and we'll book a call and have a conversation. But this is the work that I'm really excited about at the moment, because my mission and the mission of Tougher Minds is just to make it as easy as possible for people to be at their best. So that's why we're doing this, helping people to become certified habit mechanic coaches. That's all for me for now. Thank you for listening, and remember, you're only one habit away.
Thanks for listening to the Habit Mechanic podcast. If you liked it, please subscribe and tell someone else about one of the ideas or insights that you found most interesting.